Chapter 5 First Night Out.
Unfortunately for Tess, Val wasn't quite done clearing the air. Val turned to Tess. I realize my feelings are not as important as everything else you guys have going on, but they are important to me. Tess, how could you really keep this from me? I thought we were in love. Nancy gave Val a sympathetic smile before turning to speak to Max. Max, maybe we should give them some privacy? But Max was not interested in leaving now. It was finally someone else's turn to answer the tough question. Nope, we just found out my lesbian cousin is now engaged to my half-sister on the same night that her brother just came home and announced he was gay. You so don't want to leave here any more than I do right now. Nancy gave Val an apologetic sigh, but in truth, Max had been right. She didn't want to leave either. Tess said, Val, I always loved you. I took this assignment before I met any of you. All I knew was that we had an asset very close to you. I didn't realize it was Alex. By the time I realized it was Alex, Max was already back. Everyone in the Dark Realms was running around in a panic, so it gave Brielle and me a chance to finally do something. But I do love you. I love you more than anything in the world. Val asked, Can you? I mean, I know the human part of you can love me, but what about the other part, the dark part? Max explained all his struggles with that part of himself. So, can you love me? Can I ever be more than just a piece of ass to that part of you? Max said, The Draxune side of her can love you too, Val. Val wanted to believe Max, but she just wasn't sure. How can you be sure, Max? Max said, Because the Draxune in me loves you. And you are definitely not my type. You're way too skinny for me. Val smacked Max across the head, but then pulled him close to her. She looked him in the eye and put her hands on his cheek. I love you, Max. Blood or not, adoption or not. You are my family, Val said. Max's eyes flashed bright blue. What was that? Val asked. Nancy said, Light bearers have a physical reaction to receiving love. It just means that your love makes Max happy, even if he isn't always great about telling you himself. Max didn't know how this was going to turn out tonight. For all he knew, I was going to end up with Alex, as silly as that sounds with what we know now. Anyway, he risked all of that because he knew that there was something dark very close to you, Val. Max is right. A Draxune can love you just as passionately as a human. Perhaps more so, Tess said in a seductive tone. Ew, gross, Max smarted. Nancy said, Max, seriously, Val, even though Max and I have only been together as a couple for less than an hour, I can tell you that no one has ever loved me the way he has. Max smiled at Nancy as another blue wave of energy flashed in his eyes, but this time it was followed quickly by a crimson-colored flash as well. Tess said, Well, now that we have settled that, an alliance to free the multiverse, anyone? Max responded, Start with taking care of my cousin here. Nancy is right. I would risk anything and everything for Val. If she trusts you, then I can as well. I realize that you are blood, but I must be honest with you that blood doesn't mean very much to me. Val interjected, What if I told you that she was everything to me, Max? What if I told you that after you were gone, she pulled me out of some dark places, the kind of places you used to go when you were a child? She saved me, Max. That is why I was so worried that it might not be real, because I don't know what I would do if I lost her. Trust me, you could do much worse in a sister. Tess reached over and kissed Val tenderly. It was not what Max would expect from a Draxune, and he knew that she really did care for his cousin. Tess said, Max, saving the 12 realms is important to me, but honestly, out of all my siblings, you are the only one I could even consider having a relationship with. My mom died decades before you were born. I haven't had a family in a long time, and it looks like we have something in common. We are both willing to do anything, Risk anything for Val. I know in my heart that if you give me a chance, I'll feel the same way about you very soon, little brother. Max took a breath. Okay, Thanksgiving is coming up. Would you guys mind if maybe we came back for that? Lacey said. Nancy always has an open invitation to my house. Janet said. Max, you do not ever need an invitation to come here. Maybe next time we could talk. Max nodded in agreement. Alex said, I hope you guys aren't leaving yet. Some of our cousins are coming over, and I thought maybe we could make a night of it. I haven't been able to really enjoy going out for 10 years, but I saw it a lot when, well, maybe that isn't such a good idea. Besides, no one would want to go to a gay club anyway. Alex also realized that this might still be a sore spot for Max. He was relieved to see Max didn't appear to be upset. Tess said, Don't worry, Alex. This won't be as hard as you think. The world has changed a lot in the last 10 years, and you have a lot of support. You have a sister and soon-to-be sister-in-law that are active in the LGBTQ+ community. And you have a pretty well-connected cousin that can get us into the VIP room at the hottest club in town. Alex answered cautiously. I'm sure Max wouldn't want to do that. The last time we went out as a group, the demon was… Max stopped Alex right there. Alex, that's over now. I can't say it's anything I'm ever going to forget, but the truth of the matter is that even if it had been you instead of the demon, you wouldn't have been doing anything wrong. I know that we were never close before, but I do feel responsible for what happened to you. If getting you into that VIP room helps you start to get your life back, consider it done. Val asked, You and Nancy will come with us, won't you, Max? Max said, I don't think so. Alex hasn't seen his cousins in a long time, and I am sure that none of those guys are in a hurry to see me. As I recall, I threatened to kill all of them the last time we saw each other. But don't worry, I'll make the call and make sure you guys are all taken care of. Val wasn't going to let Max off the hook quite so easily. Max, they don't dislike you. They just never got to know you. And really, that isn't exactly their fault. I love you to death, but it was even hard for me to get close to you. I am glad I did, because you are so worth the effort, but it wasn't easy. Maybe tonight is a night for second chances, for everyone. I've heard them talk about that night. They actually all laugh about how you kicked their ass. Their words, not mine. Max turned and looked at Nancy. She was not sure what to say or how to feel. Part of her felt embarrassed at the prospect of seeing Max's cousins again. They had all been aware of her relationship with Alex. They had gone out together on many occasions. She appreciated Max absolving her and Alex of any wrongdoing, and while she realized he was right, she also felt he was wrong. They did go out behind his back. She realized how humiliated she would feel if Max had been secretly dating Jen. If her friends and family had watched Jen and Max make out in front of them while everyone knew that she was blissfully unaware. She didn't know how long it would take for her to make peace with that, and she didn't have a darkling inside of her. Still, this was a chance for Max to reconcile with his entire family, and maybe, in some small way, a chance for her to make something up to Max. Nancy said, I think we should go, Max. I know we missed your prom, so a night of dancing with friends and family is a perfect way to celebrate all of your victories. Max looked puzzled. All my victories? Nancy answered, Yes, Max. Since last you slept, we liberated Inverness, rescued Alex, brought him home, found a blood demon, killed said blood demon, rescued Alex again, found a sister that you didn't know existed, and, most importantly, you got a girlfriend. Max said, I think you should have led with the last part if you wanted me to celebrate. Tess interrupted. So are we going to hit the mall first? 'Cause none of us are dressed for clubbing. Val laughed, pointing at Nancy and Max. Those two are going to have to. They literally don't have any more clothes on Earth. Nancy smiled at Val and said, I don't know about that, Val. Being the apple of your cousin's eye does have some benefits you wouldn't think of. Nancy looked at Max fetchingly and handed him a small amount of packing material she plucked from Janet's recycling pile. "Can you see it, Max?" she asked. Max nodded and waved his hand across the material. A wave of purple energy followed, and the material transformed into a short red dress. Max did a double take when he realized that this was what she was wearing, but smiled when he realized he would soon see her in it. "No way did that just happen!" Val shouted. "How, Max?" she finished. Max said, "Particle manipulation. I can make changes to matter at the subatomic level. All Draxinae have an inherent knowledge of chemistry and physics." Val asked, "Tess, so that means you can do that too, since it's a Draxune power?" Tess answered, "Afraid not. I mean, I do have the knowledge of chemistry and physics, but I have never seen anyone do what Max just did. That part must be a Lumini power. Jesus, if you guys can do that, how were we kicking your ass for so long?" Nancy said, "Because it's not one of our powers either, Max has unique abilities because of his heritage. But no worries. Just grab something that is about the size of the outfit you want and think of it." Max sensed Val's thoughts, and in a moment, the worn-out throw from Janet's couch was a complete outfit for Val. "Wow, Max, even the shoes are just right. You really have an eye for detail," she said. Max chuckled. "Okay, big sister, I guess you are next." Tess said, "Max, it's okay. I'll pick something up." "I'd rather not." Max said, "I understand. I mean, we just met. I wouldn't want a stranger walking around in my mind either." Tess said, "It's not that, Max. It's just... Okay, so, yeah, I guess it is that." "Oh, screw it. I want you to be my brother. I guess I have got to let you in sometime." Max reassured her. "Just think about the clothes. I promise I won't go any deeper than that today." Tess complied, and she soon had her outfit as well. That just left Alex. They both decided that swimming around in Alex's head was not a good idea. Thankfully, Alex got to learn firsthand about the advancements in smartphones over the last 4 years. He flipped through some outfits on Val's phone, and before he knew it, he found one he liked. Val had actually seen it in person once, so Max was able to get a 3-dimensional picture from her mind. Soon, Alex was all set up as well. Max asked Janet if it was okay if he used the shower. He was healed from his injuries, but was still covered in dried blood. After he was gone, it was just the girls in the room, and Val had been dying to talk to Nancy. She was so excited that Nancy and Max were headed toward that fairy tale ending she had always envisioned for them. Val was still reveling in the fact that Max and Nancy were home, and finally a couple. She asked, "Was your first kiss with Max everything you thought it would be? I mean, I know that is a lot of pressure, a kiss you've been dreaming about for 8 years. Nancy looked at Val thoughtfully for a moment before answering truthfully. "Not really a lot of pressure, and honestly, I didn't ever really think about kissing Max until recently. I guess last month at the Battle of Drazon." This not only got Val's attention, but Tess's as well. Tess said, "I know that was traumatic, so I didn't want to ask you about it. But I've been dying to. Is it true? Did he do what they say he did?" Janet asked. "What did he do that could have you so excited, Tess?" Tess said, "They say that he broke a hallowed arrow, and that was just the beginning." Nancy thought back on the events of that day. She realized her initial assessment had been correct. That was when she started to see Max as a man, and not her little sweet friend. The other ladies could see that Nancy was getting lost in thought as the smile affixed itself to her face. Nancy then realized the other ladies were waiting on an answer, but she wasn't sure she should give them one, at least not the truth. Nancy said, I am really not sure that I should answer that in front of his mom, aunt, sister, and cousin." Val assured her it was okay. "Max and Alex are not in earshot. This is girl time. Now spill it," Val demanded. Nancy said, Okay, so the Battle of Drazon was over. We had been captured, and the guy we called Dark Alex was about to execute me and my father on Caval's order, Janet interrupted. How could he do that to Max? Did he know how important you are to him? Nancy said. Oh, he knew. That is why he ordered a swift death for me, instead of allowing them to torture me. Even then, Caval was afraid of Max's rage, and for good reason. While Lacey and Janet didn't agree on much at that moment, they both felt a great amount of sorrow for Nancy. She was describing the potential of her own death without the least bit of emotion or hesitation. They couldn't imagine what this young girl had been forced to endure for the last 4 years. So much death and pain. Nancy continued. So anyway, I'm going to be killed by a hallowed arrow. Tess obviously knows what those are. Tess nodded. Of course. I just need to know if he really did it. Brielle and I have been fighting about this ever since we first started hearing the stories about Max. Brielle swears he did it. But it can't be true, can it? Tess's antics were starting to pique Val's curiosity as well. Val said with a smile. Wow, Tess. I swear, if you weren't his gay sister, I might be starting to get jealous here. Tess responded quickly. Hallowed arrows are the most prolific weapon that the Draxuni have for fighting Elysians. It's toxic for us, but fatal to lightbearers like Nancy. Once a hallowed arrow has been forged, no force in the multiverse can even so much as bend it. It can pierce any armor. I have seen one fired by hand from a bow travel through 6 feet of concrete. They are the perfect weapon, Tess finished. Val smirked. Wow, I hope you talk about me with that kind of passion one day. Tess ignored her and focused her attention on Nancy, silently urging her to continue. Nancy finally complied. Nancy said, So Dark Alex fires an arrow, and I see it coming towards my chest. I start to think about Max, and I hope that I am going to see him again after I die. Just before the arrow breaks my skin, it stops. It just stops right in front of me. And for the first time in 4 years, I could feel Max. I could sense his emotions, his desire to keep me safe. Dark Alex fired again, and Max caught that arrow as well. Max phases into view in front of me, holding both arrows. He turned to the Draxun general and held up both arrows in front of him and just snaps them in half. No one there had ever seen anything like it. I was shocked, and I winced a little because the Solidium chains were burning my skin. Max saw it and grabbed the chains and ripped them off my body. The chains were even thicker than the arrows. I swear, half the Draxune crapped their pants. And the ladies, well, let's just say everyone could have used a change of underwear that day. I started seeing Max in a different light after that. Max and Alex returned to the room, and Val just giggled. He thought about asking what was so funny, but honestly, he didn't care. Val's laugh was a comforting sound for Max, and he hadn't realized how much he had missed Earth until just now. For him, it had been just a matter of months. He couldn't imagine what Nancy was feeling now. He was glad she was getting this break from the burden of what their normal lives had become. The group soon left Janet's house and decided to walk most of the way to the club so that they had a chance to get their cover story down. They decided that they would stick to the basic story Nancy had used earlier with a couple of additions. That part seemed simple and stress-free to Nancy. But as they approached the club, the prospect of seeing Max's cousins again became more and more unnerving. Nancy knew that she didn't have anything to prove to anyone, and that she didn't owe anyone an explanation as to why she was now with Max. But she had never been out with Max socially, not as his girlfriend. And this would be as challenging a first date as there could be. The group of 5 became 9 as they met the other cousins outside the club. Keisha, Ralph, Sean, and Eddie greeted Alex as you would expect. From their perspective, Alex had gone on a vacation overseas and simply never returned. That was nearly 4 years ago. They had also not seen Nancy in that time. They assumed that the two of them disappeared together, perhaps to get a fresh start after everything that happened with Max. That is why they were more than a little surprised to see Nancy's behavior tonight. The dress Max had fashioned for Nancy was perfect. Perhaps a bit too perfect. It was definitely Nancy's earth style, highlighting all her curves and natural assets. As soon as Alex's greetings with his cousins were complete, Nancy could feel their eyes on her. It was nothing unusual, nothing she had not felt from them a dozen times before. What concerned her was not their attention, it was their unspoken expectation, the assumption that she was there with Alex. Nancy knew that Max could feel it too. Perhaps this wasn't the best idea. Max didn't show any outward emotion, but he was clearly outside of his comfort zone. Nancy thought about what she had said to Max earlier, about this being a way to make up for missing his prom. She imagined that if they had gone together, she would have needed to pull him out of his shell then. And while this isn't exactly the same situation, she would still do her best to support him. Nancy reached over and kissed him lightly on the lips. "Thank you so much for getting us into this club tonight, baby. You aren't going to regret it," she said, in her most flirtatious voice. Max's cousins were all floored. Ralph coughed. "Oh, hi, Nancy. So that was unexpected. Hi, Max. It's good to see you again." Val took a breath. "So, I am sure you all have a lot of questions. And if they feel like going into detail with you at some point in the future, they will. But for now, let me give you the Cliff Notes edition. After everything that went down with us, Max went to the Far East to reunite with his birth mother." Nancy realized how much she had hurt Max and couldn't continue her relationship with Alex. Alex wasn't that upset about it because he realized he needed to find his own way, so he went on his trip to Africa. As it turns out, the Royals and Max's birth family are quite close and have been for generations. Nancy and her dad got into some trouble in Africa, and Max was able to use his new job and his new family connections to help them. Nancy and Max reconciled, and while working through everything, Nancy found Alex being held in a similar facility, so Max was able to get him out as well. Very recently, Max and Nancy decided to take their friendship to the next level, and everyone is very happy about that, including Alex. Ralph found that hard to believe. "Really, Alex? I mean, it seems crappy that your cousin would steal your girl while you were locked up in some hellhole." Nancy felt the grip on her hand change, and she didn't have to look at Max to feel the red glow in his eyes. She reached out to him mentally. "It's okay, Max. We will handle this," she said, even though she wasn't exactly sure what they could say. Fortunately, Alex was one step ahead of her. Alex said, "You got it wrong, man. She doesn't belong to anyone. They always loved each other, and on some level, I knew that. They had been so close for years before Nancy and I started dating. It was pretty shitty of me to do that to him." Sean nodded. "I agree. I wasn't going to say anything, but I didn't ever feel right about it. Not that you two couldn't be together, but that you were doing it on the down low because you knew it would hurt Max." Nancy said, "You are right. We should have been open and honest from the beginning. But when Max left, I realized I never wanted to be without him again." Max said, "That wasn't just the two of you. I should have told you how I felt even after I found out. I should have chosen to stay and fight for you, for us, instead of running away." Ralph laughed. "You think you would have had a chance against Alex?" Max raised an eyebrow before saying, "You might be surprised at what I can do when properly motivated," with a smile. Nancy and Alex shared a knowing look, followed by a giggle from Nancy. Keisha giggled. "Max with swag. I like it." Alex added, "And honestly, he would not have had to fight too hard. I was already starting to realize something about myself. Guys, I'm gay. I hope none of you have a problem with that." Max said, "And if you do, you can hit the road now. Don't worry, he will still have plenty of family to support him tonight." Val agreed. "Damn straight he will." Ralph was caught off guard. I don't think I have ever heard you refer to any of us as family before, Max. Why now?
Max said, "Growing up here with you guys was not easy. I never felt like I was part of the family, especially after I found out I was adopted. But now, I realize that maybe that was more about me than it was about you guys. I certainly could have tried harder than I did."
Sean responded. We are all still young, and we have plenty of time to have fun together. Now come on, guys. The first person to finish their first drink gets to be Alex's wingman.